welcome back for the final day of my 31 Days of Halloween series. Over the course of this past month, I've shocked myself to say the least. About halfway through, I almost gave up, but I'm so glad I stuck it out, got these videos out, and made these amazing looks for you guys. I genuinely hope that you guys enjoyed every single look, and you enjoyed the fact that I did videos this year. Surprisingly, a Balrog was probably the first one I put on my list this year. I'm so glad I left this for the last look, because it's my favorite. It takes the cake, it beats the Night King, it beats all that. It's just so rad. So without further ado, product details and all that fun stuff will be in the video description below. Let's start the fire. You have no idea how stoked I am to turn myself into a Balrog. So of course, first step, you're going to want a brow block, wipe away the excess powder when you're done, and then we'll start outlining everything. So to outline, I used a white eyeliner pencil. I did this just to map out the features of a Balrog because obviously I don't have those features. So I wanted to get a good idea of where I was going to be placing the colors. You can also see me glancing from side to side. That's because I am checking my reference photos. Especially for a look that's this crazy, you're definitely going to want to have tons of reference images so that you know what the heck you're doing. Once I'm done giving myself a general outline, I took the same eyeliner pencil and started giving me a very dramatic winged liner. We're going to blend this out in a moment. I also extended my eye outwards on an angle and also downwards on my inner corners just to make it so that my eyes looked a little bit slanted. Then I took a white eyeshadow and set that on top and also started diffusing that liner outwards. The next color you're going to want to take is a bright yellow and apply that around the eye and around the white eyeliner we placed. Then, going with the gradient, you're going to want to grab some orange eyeshadows and apply that outwards even further. You can also use a blending brush to get those edges nicely blended. And then the last color we're going to use here is a red. I found it was easier to go in with a blending brush first and then take a tapered eyeshadow brush for smaller details. Then I took a lighter orange body paint and started mapping out the nostrils and also used a little bit of yellow body paint as well. I come back and tweak this a couple times because I wasn't happy with it. Then I grabbed a cosmetic sponge that I just ripped up and some berry red body paint and applied that on my outer temples, and then took some black for some dimension and stippled that on as well. And then lastly, a darker red on top. Then you're going to map out the eyebrows with some gray body paint. If you don't have gray, you can always mix white and black body paint as well. Don't forget to add the little grooves on the eyebrow portion as well. The next step for the eyebrows is to grab that berry red color and apply that into the grooves as if there's little notches. Then I mixed up some darker gray body paint and used that as more dimension. And also some black body paint wherever you want a deep shadow. I then decided to add a quick highlight to the peaks of each little notch. And then to sort of make it seem as if the fire from his mouth or around him is glowing onto those peaks, you're going to want to grab both orange and yellow body paint and a tiny bit of white and just add a sort of glimmer underneath the brow. That's probably the best way I can describe it. For the forehead piece that kind of looks like a spider web right now, you're going to want to mix some gray body paint in with a little bit of red and just do a general wash of color. I'm then taking a dark brown body paint and muddying up all the grooves. And then you can mix a darker gray body paint and apply that to any of the shadows you want to cast. And also any black that you want to fully deepen. For the peaks, I'm using a little bit of yellow and light brown body paint. And then I moved over to the sides and underneath the brow with some black eyeshadow and just shaded it a little bit better. Then I moved down to the nose again and added some highlights, just kind of playing around with the shape. I was really unhappy with it. That's the really great thing about these paints, is that since they are water activated, they're super easy to manipulate and remove and just change the color if you want. And that's what I did, and I was way happier with the nose now. For my temples, I decided I did want to create some groove texture there, as if the horns are still extending. So I went in with a variety of colors that were on my palette and just started creating some dimension and shadow. I'm really just trying my best to make it look kind of 3D and that it has all this texture to it. Then for my cheek area, I decided to create this sort of rock-like texture that I saw in a reference image. So I first used some gray and brown body paint mixed together to create the rocks, and then created all of the texture and shadow using some oranges, yellows, reds, all that fun stuff. I then took my light brown body paint mixed with a little bit of red and gray to create my tooth color. For the teeth, make sure you shade it well and also highlight it. Then I also added some texture and dimension underneath my cheekbone area, creating some grooves and some highlights to really make it pop. Then you can go ahead and create the bottom jaw portion. For the cheeks and the sides of the mouth, I decided to use some bright orange body paint and make it appear as if his skin is pulling down to open his mouth. For the center of his mouth, go ahead and paint it both yellow and orange, varying up the color and making it kind of look like there's flames inside, of course. For his body, I went ahead, used the same white eyeliner and mapped out the general sense of what I wanted to paint. I knew I wanted a neck piece as well as the rest of his body to be made of lava. So the first paint I'm using is my oranges, creating that mid-tone color before grabbing my reds and applying that right up next to the lava rocks and blending it out. You can also go back in with the orange to blend it out better and use water to further blend it out. Paint all your lava rocks dark brown and then start adding texture and highlight by using the light brown and the white and even some black to stipple it on. I'm then outlining each and every rock. And also giving one final highlight to them. Go ahead and paint your ears some orangey red tones. We're going to come back to these in a bit. I then took a blending eyeshadow brush, dipped it in some yellow body paint, making sure there's not too much water, and just stippling that on and blending out the yellow to make it look like it's glowing. You can also stipple this on to some of the rocks. For the neck, I swiped on some browns, grays, and blacks to create this really weird sharp texture. And then I used some black body paint to create the groove in his neck, and some white to highlight that. Grabbing a stipple sponge, dip it in some black body paint and stipple it onto your ears as well as some of the rocks. Some of the last touches you can do is highlight the F out of your face. And there you have it. You've become a Balrog. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you guys in the next one.